I need to be completely honest with you. I've lived in the United States, I've spent years in Europe, I've traveled across Asia. But when I arrived in South Korea, I felt like I'd stepped into the future. Not just a few years ahead. 20 years ahead. And I'm not exaggerating. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the rest of the world is still trying to catch up to what you've already built. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will make you realize just how far ahead South Korea really is. Let me start with a moment I knew something was different. I landed at Incheon International Airport at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night. I was exhausted from a 14-hour flight, ready to deal with the usual airport chaos. Long immigration lines, confusion, delays. That's what I expected. Instead, I walked off the plane, went through automated immigration in less than 3 minutes, grabbed my luggage within 10 minutes, and I was in a taxi heading to Seoul before midnight. The entire process was seamless. No stress. No waiting. Just efficiency. And here's what hit me. I'd just come from flying through Los Angeles International Airport the week before. That experience took me almost 2 hours just to get out of the airport. 2 hours of lines, confusion, and frustration. At Incheon, it took me 15 minutes total. That's when I realized this wasn't just a good airport. This was a glimpse into how far ahead South Korea actually is. But the airport was just the beginning. The taxi ride into Seoul opened my eyes even further. My driver's car had a built-in payment system. I didn't need cash. I didn't even need a credit card. I just tapped my phone. The receipt was instantly sent to my email. The GPS showed real-time traffic updates with alternate routes. And we were driving on highways so smooth and well-lit, it felt like we were gliding. I'm from a country that claims to be one of the most advanced in the world. But our highways have potholes. Our payment systems are clunky. And our airports feel outdated. In South Korea, everything just worked. Perfectly. When I arrived at my hotel in Gangnam at midnight, I was hungry. In most countries, finding food that late means either fast food or nothing. But my hotel receptionist smiled and told me, there are at least 50 restaurants still open within 5 minutes of here. You can also order delivery. It'll arrive in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. At midnight. I ordered Korean fried chicken and tteokbokki through an app that was entirely in English, Chinese, and Korean. The app showed me the restaurant's live kitchen camera. I could watch my food being prepared in real time. The delivery driver's location updated every few seconds on the map. 18 minutes later, my food arrived, perfectly packaged, still hot. I sat there eating at 12:30 a.m., and I thought to myself, this is the future. Not because it's flashy or high-tech for the sake of being high-tech, but because it actually makes life better. And that's what being ahead means. It's not about showing off. It's about systems that work so well, you don't even think about them. The next morning, I decided to explore Seoul using public transportation. I bought a T-Money card at a convenience store. One card for subways, buses, taxis, even some vending machines and stores. In most cities I've lived in, you need separate cards or apps for everything. In Seoul, one card does it all. I took the subway during rush hour, expecting chaos. Instead, I found order. The train arrived exactly on time, down to the second. Platform screen doors kept everyone safe. The subway car had phone charging ports, free Wi-Fi, and air quality monitors showing real-time pollution levels. And here's what amazed me most. The train was clean. Spotless. No trash. No graffiti. Just clean. I've taken subways in New York, London, Paris, Tokyo. Seoul's subway system isn't just comparable. It's better. It's faster, cleaner, more efficient, and more extensive. 9 lines covering the entire city and beyond, all perfectly synchronized. You can get anywhere in Seoul within 40 minutes. That's a city of 10 million people with better public transport than cities half its size. But let me talk about something even more impressive, internet speed. South Korea has the fastest internet in the world. Not just fast. The fastest. Average download speeds are over 200 megabits per second. In most countries, people celebrate when they hit 50 megabits per second. I was sitting in a cafe in Hongdae, and I decided to test this. I downloaded a 2-hour HD movie on my phone. It took 38 seconds. 38 seconds. That same download would take me 20 minutes back home on a good day. And this wasn't even special. This was just normal cafe Wi-Fi in South Korea. Walking around Seoul, I noticed something else. Almost nobody carries cash. I mean nobody. I went 3 days without touching physical money. Everything was digital. Tap your phone, tap your card, or even tap your watch. Payments happened in seconds. Receipts were automatic. Even street food vendors had digital payment systems. In most countries, we're still arguing about whether to adopt cashless systems. In South Korea, you've been living it for years. You're not experimenting with the future. You're already there. Let me tell you about something that completely changed my perspective. I got sick one evening. Nothing serious, just a cold. I asked my hotel how to see a doctor. They told me there was a clinic 2 blocks away, open until 10 p.m. I walked in at 8 p.m. without an appointment. I was seen by a doctor within 15 minutes. She spoke perfect English. The consultation was thorough. I got prescribed medication. The pharmacy was in the same building. I picked up my medicine, paid using my phone, and walked out. The entire experience, from walking in to walking out, took 35 minutes. The cost? About $30, and that was without insurance. Let me compare that to my experience back home. To see a doctor without an appointment, I'd go to urgent care. I'd wait at least 2 hours. The consultation would be rushed. I'd get a prescription and have to drive to a separate pharmacy. The cost would easily be $300 minimum. And that's with insurance. South Korea's healthcare system isn't just efficient. It's ahead. It's what healthcare should look like everywhere, but doesn't. Now, if you're Korean and you're watching this, I need to tell you something. Everything I'm describing, you probably think is normal. You've lived with this your whole life, so you might not realize how special it is. But trust me, the rest of the world doesn't have this. What feels ordinary to you is extraordinary everywhere else. I'm making videos like this every single day because your country's story needs to be told. You've built something incredible, and the world needs to learn from it. If this video is making you see your country differently, or if you're feeling even a little bit proud, hit that subscribe button. Let me keep showing the world what makes South Korea 20 years ahead. Let me continue. I spent a day in Gangnam visiting tech companies and startup hubs. What I saw there confirmed everything I'd been feeling. South Korea isn't just using technology. You're creating it. Samsung, LG, Naver, Kakao, these aren't just companies. They're global innovators setting standards for everyone else. I visited a Samsung Experience Center. Foldable phones that actually work. Televisions so advanced they look like windows into another world. Home systems controlled entirely by AI. Appliances that communicate with each other. This isn't concept technology. This is what's available to regular consumers right now in South Korea. And here's what struck me. While other countries are still debating whether foldable phones are practical, you've already moved on to the next innovation. You're not waiting for technology to arrive. You're inventing it. I also noticed something about South Korea's cities that most people don't talk about: urban planning. Seoul is a massive city, but it doesn't feel chaotic. There are green spaces everywhere. The Cheonggyecheon stream runs through the heart of the city, a restored natural waterway where people relax. Parks are accessible within walking distance from almost anywhere. In most major cities, nature is sacrificed for development. In Seoul, you've managed to balance both. High-rise buildings stand next to mountain hiking trails. Modern infrastructure coexists with preserved historical sites. You didn't destroy the past to build the future. You integrated them. I hiked Namsan Mountain one morning. I started in the middle of a bustling city, and within 20 minutes, I was surrounded by trees, breathing fresh air, looking down at one of the most advanced cities in the world. That contrast, that balance, it's something most cities will take decades to figure out. South Korea already has it. Let me talk about safety, because this is something that absolutely blew my mind. I walked around Seoul at 2 a.m. multiple times. Through quiet neighborhoods, busy streets, parks. I never once felt unsafe. I saw women walking alone at night without fear. I saw people leaving their phones on cafe tables while they used the restroom. I'm from a place where you don't do that. You don't walk alone at night. You don't leave your belongings unattended. But in South Korea, safety isn't a luxury. It's just normal life. Crime rates are among the lowest in the world. You've built a society where people trust each other, where communities look out for each other. That's not just about good policing. That's about culture. That's about values. And it's something that can't be replicated easily. It takes generations to build that kind of trust, that kind of society. And you have it. Now let's talk about something uniquely Korean, the work ethic and innovation mindset. That drive, that poly culture, that's what pushed South Korea forward. Yes, it's intense. Yes, it's demanding. But it's also why you went from poverty to prosperity in 70 years. It's why your companies compete with and beat the biggest corporations in the world. It's why you're 20 years ahead. Some people criticize Korean work culture as too harsh. But here's what they don't understand. That intensity built something extraordinary. Your parents' generation worked those hours so you could have opportunities they never had. They sacrificed so South Korea could become what it is today. And that sacrifice wasn't in vain. I also experienced Korean customer service, and it's on another level. I went to a store to buy a phone charger. The employee didn't just sell me the product. She asked what phone I had, checked compatibility, showed me 3 options at different price points, explained the differences, and made sure I was completely satisfied before I left. That level of care, that attention to detail, it's standard here. In most places, customer service is transactional. In South Korea, it's personal. People take pride in doing things right, in going beyond what's required. That mindset extends to everything. From how trains run on time to how food is prepared to how streets are maintained. Excellence isn't occasional. It's expected. Let me share one more thing that really struck me. I visited a traditional Hanok village in Jeonju. These are preserved historical houses, hundreds of years old. But even there, even in a place celebrating the past, I saw modern infrastructure. Clean restrooms with bidets. Free Wi-Fi. Digital payment systems. Information displays in multiple languages. South Korea doesn't choose between honoring history and embracing the future. You do both. You preserve what matters while continuously improving. That's wisdom most countries haven't learned yet. They either cling to the past or destroy it entirely. You've found balance. As my time in South Korea continued, I kept noticing small things that added up to something big. Heated sidewalks in winter so ice doesn't form. Umbrella sharing systems at subway stations. Phone charging stations everywhere. Filtered water fountains in public spaces. These aren't grand gestures. They're thoughtful details that make daily life better. And that's what being 20 years ahead really means. It's not just about having the newest technology or the tallest buildings. It's about creating systems that prioritize people's lives. It's about thinking through problems before they become problems. It's about continuous improvement in everything. I realized something important during my time here. South Korea's advancement isn't accidental. It's intentional. Every efficient system, every technological innovation, every improvement to daily life, it all came from people who refused to accept good enough. People who asked, how can we make this better? That mindset, that relentless drive to improve, that's what propelled South Korea forward. And it's what keeps you ahead. Because while other countries celebrate reaching where you were 5 years ago, you're already building what comes next. The numbers tell the story too. In 1960, South Korea's GDP per capita was less than $100. Today, it's over $35,000. Life expectancy went from 50 years to 83 years. Literacy went from barely 70% to nearly 100%. These aren't just statistics. These are transformed lives. These are possibilities that didn't exist before. But here's what makes South Korea truly special. You didn't achieve this by copying others. You innovated. You created your own path. Korean companies didn't just manufacture products designed elsewhere. They designed better products. Korean culture didn't just import entertainment. You created entertainment that conquered the world. Korean society didn't just adopt technology. You invented it. That's leadership. That's what being ahead means. And that's why when I say South Korea is 20 years ahead of the rest of the world, I'm not exaggerating. I'm observing reality. So to every Korean watching this, understand something. What you have isn't normal. It's exceptional. The convenience you experience daily, the safety you feel walking at night, the technology you use without thinking, the infrastructure that just works, most of the world doesn't have this. Most of the world is still trying to figure out what you've already mastered. Be proud of that. Be grateful for the generations that sacrificed to build this. And keep pushing forward, because the world is watching. The world is learning. And the world is trying to catch up to where you already are. South Korea isn't just 20 years ahead. In many ways, you're showing the rest of us what the future looks like. And that's something worth celebrating.